welcome everyone to our Tuesday night Zoom chat. This is the Coinda Community Connection. I'm your host, Kelly Wilkins, and it's so good to be with you on, what are we, the 18th of April. How good's that? Just after Easter and on school holidays. And that's how my brain is at the moment, on holidays. So, but we are so excited because we are looking forward to the expo coming up, and we have some beautiful presenters with us tonight who are going to share with us what we can expect to see at the expo on Saturday, the 29th of April at Pitt Town Sports Club. And so, you know, we've got speakers lined up, we've got demonstrations, we've got pony rides, fairy floss, barbecue, popcorn, snow cones, like, you know, it's going to be the works, as well as all the off-grid information that you want to find out about alternative healing, learning, so many good things that will help us to expand our knowledge, confidence, and skills to get out of the system. So without further ado, let me introduce you to the beautiful Kate McConville. She is the affectionately known Kate the Greenie, with the chemical-free cleaning consultant that is the bee's knees of all things clean and green. So let's turn it over to you, Kate, to share with us what are we going to expect at the expo when we see you.
Well, thank you. So I think perhaps if I'll just see if I can get full screen there.
Yes.
And speaker view. No. Okay. First thing is, being an ENJO consultant means you get me. So my story is, at one stage I was fortunate enough to have cleaners come in my home. Now I'm historically haven't used any cleaning chemicals ever, really, and my grandparents didn't, and my mother didn't, because they just weren't around. So I had fortunate enough to afford to get cleaners into my home when the children were fairly young, when I was working a few jobs, and it just made all the difference. However, as soon as I got home after they'd been, I get really wheezy and I'd go, well, what's going on? I'm an asthmatic, and I'm very sensitive to smells and allergic to some foods, but the smells when I came into the home immediately gave me an asthma attack, or at least wheezes, which then reduced my effectiveness with the family for the next some hours. And I'd say to them, you know, I don't want you using any chemicals, but we can't clean without chemicals. We're using this eco stuff. They showed me what it was, and I said, well, look at all the stuff in it. You know, there's like 30 different things, and you can't read it, and they're, you know, it's microscopic, and they're 15 letters long. What's in it? And they go, well, we were just assured that it was an eco product, and it's okay for people that are vegans and vegetarians and sensitive. And I go, well, it's not. Can you find something else? And they couldn't. So I had to let them go, because my health was much more important than having a clean home, which is a bit weird to say, isn't it? So the home was never filthy. It's just the things that don't get done, like skirting boards and windowsills, the surfaces were relatively clean. So after that experience, I had to find a product that would help me and help the family to clean my home that was better than what I was using previously, which was just water and often a Chucks or just whatever I could get my hand on, a singlet or worn out undies or tea towels or whatever it was, whatever, you know, my parents and grandparents used to use vinegar sometimes. So but I was Kate the Greenie. So I had to be confident that what I chose was going to be sustainable and ecologically sound and environmentally sound. And so that's not that easy. So when I found ENJO, it started with getting a product for my husband's psoriasis that was going to debride, just gently debride his flaky skin. And that progressed to, okay, well, we're not using any water. This is a great product. It's lasting a long time. What about the other products? So we started with kitchen, bathroom. And so what you're going to get from me is a little taster of what happens when I come into someone's home or at the show people how this works. And I had to find this product that was actually going to be sustainable, because Kate the Greenie, I ran for council as a greens person. I had to be not using any chemicals, because that was one of my platforms. I was about leaving the world a healthier place for all beings, and sustainability was a big part of that. Right, so I've got butter, I've got a glass, I've smeared the butter on the glass, I've got a green fibre, green for kitchen, right? Some water. It's not spraying. Got to turn it on. Rookie mistake here. Not coming out. That's good. Take two.
Spray your mouth while you're.
Okay, so on this fibre, I'm just going to put a bit of water. I don't like doing this on the computer because just in case I spill it. And with the fibre and with the water, I'm just wiped that off. And it's here, right? Can you see that? The butter is there. So what I normally say to people is, so how do you normally get grease and slimy stuff out of your kitchen? And they go, hot water, detergents, a lot of hot water, more detergent. And I have now a crystal clean glass that has only had the dirt taken off it with water and the fibre. So that just blew me away. So I thought, okay, well, I'm going to do that. And then the lady said to me, she said, well, what about the makeup? And I go, well, usually it's my pillow, actually, that gets my makeup. I don't rarely wear much makeup. And she said, okay, well, how about I show you a makeup remover, which is this, and lipstick on my hand. So just with the fibre again and water, it comes off, which is pretty jolly amazing. So by then I go, okay, well, this sounds very sustainable. How long does it last? And she said 3 years. And I go, really? And she said, well, yes, it's a valuable product that will last you 3 years. And that's my story. That's how I got into ENJO. And what I do is I help people also have that wow factor. And they go, do you mean to say I don't need to buy packets of chemicals that you spray in the air? I go, yeah. And then, of course, the other part is that all of that stuff goes into landfill and, and in our lungs. So I'm very excited about this product. I've been using it for nearly 6 years. I've helped over 1,000 homes clean up without chemicals. And in doing that, they've saved thousands and thousands of dollars. So that's a little bit about my story. So what is the problem with using chemicals for cleaning? Does anyone want to quickly say something?
No, they're not good for our health.
They're not good for our health. So they're ingested, so they go in our lungs. We eat them, inhaled, we eat them. So on surfaces that have been cleaned with, say, a spray and wipe or a wipe, it leaves a smear on that surface, which not only attracts the dirt, but if we're going to then eat from that plate or put our knife and fork on the table that's been cleaned, we're going to actually ingest those chemicals. So one of the worst chemicals in our homes are phthalates, and phthalates are a lot in those spray and wipe type products and window cleaners especially. So what do phthalates do? Anyone know?
Is that the hormone disruptor?
Metabolic disruptors, yeah. So those of us who have been struggling with weight or maybe have some thyroid issues, the chemicals that we're using in our homes are definitely contributors. And not only that, they're contributors to children's attention deficit issues. They're in lots of little soft plastic toys that that parents buy children, and they're often a very cheap toy, and they go in their mouths and then they have reactions to them as well. So when I have an opportunity to talk to people, it's not just about ENJO. It's about environmental issues. It's about sustainability. It's about water saving. It could be about what it's like having backyard chickens, having an organic garden, because ENJO is a platform for me to talk about sustainability, and that's why I really love it.
Okay, you going on that, because you live on property and you cook very much
from
I want to
scratch.
say,
Yeah.
right. So this is your whole lifestyle. Tell us a little bit about that. Your life.
Yeah. As often as I can, I get people to come over into my garden and have a look around. Not that it's great, but it's the reason why I do things. So, you know, I grow plants from scratch to give to the schools for their kitchen gardens. I dry as much food as I can. I buy on special and you know, jam it or make it into sauces, just because that's a sustainable way to live. If we don't have to go to the shops as often as we do, we save a lot of money and we save a lot of time, save a lot of actual energy, petrol. Yeah, so as much as we can do those kinds of things, you know, I talk to people about getting off the grid and going on solar, getting off the gas, using induction. It's ENJO's one little piece of that puzzle that people do want to do something. They do want to make a difference. So when I can get out there and show them that there's an opportunity to do something different, they may not buy ENJO, but they go, oh, wow, that's really interesting. Oh, I might try that at home. Yeah.
Yeah.
And Kate, I do have a question.
Sure.
That when you are cleaning that grease with that fiber or whatever, you know, that it is the cleaner, what sort of ingredients does that one hold that it can clean that kind of grease from the glass?
It's a great question, and it's about the fiber technology. So it's an Okio Ecotech high-tech fiber. And these are lots and lots of fibers together that draw in bacteria, viruses, and dirt, debris, grease. And there's different fibers for different areas in the home. And it's the nature of how these fibers are made. So if you can imagine, just pretend that each fiber had a fish hook on it. Okay, and it grabs it and then draws it down by capillary action down to the bottom of the fiber.
And when you're using it, you know, every day, for sure that for even if you have 2 portions of meal and you're making different type of meals, you know, such as egg or oily food or anything like that, these fibers, how long could they clean themselves? You know, that how is it going to be cleaned instead of, you know, that to use it for another dish with another grease on it? Do you know exactly? Do you know what do I mean? In order that your glass, you know, doesn't smell like a, you know, that egg after you have already cleaned it already.
Yeah. So there's that is a specific fiber in the range for grease, and on that side it's for substantial debris. So the everyday dishcloth is a fiber that is very soft. It's quite a different fiber. Again, this is the kitchen fiber, very, very soft. And after every time you use it, you just wring it, you just pop it under the tap, give it a bit of shake like that, and then you wring it out, tip it over, and it's ready for the next time. And then every couple of days, so you can use your chicken and you can use it for the vegetables, it's not a problem. Every couple of days, have a smell. And when it's got a smell, you know that the bacteria are starting to multiply. It needs to go in the wash.
Oh,
yeah. So it's you have to look after them properly. They're valuable fibers for your kitchen. Don't go in the dishwasher. They don't go in the dryer. They get looked after. They don't get left wringing wet either, because we know that mold and bacteria love a wet, warm surface.
exactly.
So that's important. So it's important when you buy ENJO that you get a consultant who can talk to you about how to look after them properly.
I see. Thank you so much for that.
No, you're welcome.
Now at the expo, we have a silent auction.
Yes.
You get to bid on something that Kate is going to show you.
Yes, so I have a gift voucher. Now, normally these gift vouchers, I'll have a $50 gift voucher. Normally these gift vouchers, you have to, ENJO Australia recommends that you host a demo to use this, but for us, I'm just going to, you can purchase something off the website, but I'll pay for it. So you can choose. So with me, decide what you need to start with, and you can buy it. You can get it for free. And I'll even pay for
Beautiful.
postage.
All for your silent auction donation. So
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful. Thank you, Kate.
You're welcome.
That's well, we're very excited, and then that makes me excited to come and see you in your garden. I have to plan that one.
Yeah, I've got a lovely deck, so you can come and see my garden from the deck and look at the chickens, and yeah, everyone who visits my garden takes home plants. Hopefully takes home plants, because I have so many.
Wow, that's the way to live. Live in the dream.
Yeah, living
Beautiful.
the dream.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Great questions too, Faranak. Thank you for asking those fun, wonderful questions.
Yeah.
Oh, my pleasure. Yeah.
Beautiful. Well, next I'm going to introduce you to our beautiful Monique. And Monique has a very interesting business called Brain Wise Learning. And Monique's a mum. Now, I love a person who finds something that is important to them, interesting to them, learns about it, make great skills, and then turns it into a business. You're just my ideal person there, Monique, because that's what my self-reliance is all about, right? Because I had this conversation the other day with a lady. I said, if you can be self-made, you are out of the system. You know, you can't, nobody can tell you can't work, or you're set, because you're a self-starter.
Yeah.
So Monique, tell us about Brain Wise Learning and how you got into that.
Well, first I want to say thank you to Sherry for inviting me along. It's a wonderful discovery, learning that you guys are actually there. So I'm really excited about this opportunity. So thank you, Sherry. And also to Kate. I've actually had Kate at my place, and we did a demonstration, and I won some lovely fibres, and I'm still using them. They're absolutely fantastic. They're very, very high quality, and helps me a lot with the dust and cat hair that we have with our 3 cats. So
Thank you.
But I started Brainwise Learning when my son struggled an awful lot at school. He seemed to, his rhythm and timing was a little bit off. He didn't really struggle with reading, but he kind of did, and I worked all that out later, that he had something called an auditory processing disorder. And with an auditory processing disorder, it's not a hearing problem, so because that's more related to volume. It's about how quickly the brain can process sound. And when they can't process sound fast enough, especially with speech, because speech is quite rapid and it's very fast. And if you can't hear the differences between all the little, we call them phonemes, they're the little parts of speech. So the difference between a b and a p, or a ch and a sh, might not be very clear to them. So it's kind of like listening to someone wearing a mask. You know, during COVID, if you were trying to listen to someone who was wearing a mask, it was very difficult to hear what they were saying and to catch every word. And you had to work sort of quite hard to, or use their expressions and their gestures to try and get a full comprehension of what they were saying a lot of the time. And that's what it's like for a child in a classroom who has auditory processing disorder. It starts for many different reasons. It can be that a child may have grown up in a stressful environment, so they may have kind of learnt to shut down a little bit. Or it may just be that they haven't been read to enough or spoken to enough. We're talking now about children starting school with a 1 million word deficit. They're just not being spoken to enough. They're starting school without ever having learned a nursery rhyme. which is a perfect way of wiring the brain for language and learning. So it may also be conditions like autism or ADHD for many reasons, even ear infections, especially when they're at that very vulnerable time of acquiring speech. It can just sort of get the brain to not wire very efficiently for the processing of sound. And so that can make, when they go to learn reading, it becomes very difficult to match the speech sounds to letters, because that's all a very, very fast process. And so children with dyslexia, we know auditory processing disorder is a part of that as well. So many children struggle with it. Some will get, they'll have a diagnosis of dyslexia or something, but many go undiagnosed and they just kind of go through life saying, well, school just wasn't for me. I couldn't read. I didn't want to read, or I just found it so difficult, or so it was just so hard that I just couldn't be bothered. And so my son was, he could read, but I found out later that he was working so hard to read and that was why he was avoiding it. So he didn't quite have dyslexia, and I knew to sort of look for dyslexia, but I didn't think, nobody knew about auditory processing disorder then. So he's 22 now, and I found a program in a book I finally came across called, the program is called Fast Forward, and it was in a book called The Brain That Changes Itself by Dr. Norman Doidge. And this program was incredible. So he had to listen to lots and lots of sounds and different beeps, and he had to put them in the right order. And he had to work with a lot of, I'm going to sound a bit silly when I do this, so forgive me, working with sounds like ba, 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 and da, 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 and sa, sa, sa. And what he had to do was match them in it like a game of memory. So he had to hold on to them, and it was the exercises in this program put a demand on the brain to process all those sounds, to hear the differences between them, hold on to them in their memory. And what ends up happening is, so his speech improved. He had this beautiful sing-songy tone. It was a lovely way of speaking. We actually loved it. And he had words that were just his. But as he was getting older, we realized that a lot of bullying was getting him because of that, which is such a shame. But anyway, that was then. He's 22 now, and his auditory processing skills are, there's an assumption that even as parents we make that, our child can't do this or can't do that because of these things happening. And as his skills improved, this amazing intelligence came out, and it was just, he knew all about politics, and he knew all about psychology, and he knew all about NLP, and it was all hiding in there. With this auditory processing disorder, it just wasn't able to really come out. When he was backed into a corner by bullies, he found it difficult because he was getting stressed to defend himself. And even in a classroom, because the children kind of lose patience with these kids because they can't remember all the instructions that the teachers give them. So, the teacher would say something like, okay, children, sit down, get your textbooks out and open it at pages 23 and 24 and answer questions 1 to 5, something like that. And he wouldn't be able to remember all of that. So he'd ask the children next to him, and they would tell him to get stuffed. And then, he would get upset. Sorry, I'm getting upset as I'm thinking about it still, because it's still quite raw. There's a lot of problems for these kids with auditory processing disorder, and it's a silent one because he didn't have enough markers for a diagnosis of anything at the time. So because he didn't have a diagnosis, he wasn't getting the support from the school that, and teachers were making this assumption that he was lazy or he could try harder, or, things like that. And that had an effect on him. It took him probably 3, 4, 5 years to recover from school and
then
find himself.
Worked with him, Monique, and then what was the process that you worked through with him?
Okay, so he did that program. So that's an online program, and that's the one that I sell now. He did that when he was in year 6. So although his auditory processing skills improved, what didn't improve was his mindset. I thought that he was really good for starting high school, and that all these problems would be behind us, but I didn't think about his beliefs. You know, I thought that would all work itself out, but he still believed that he couldn't learn and that he was still going to be bullied all the time. And that's what kind of continued in high school. When I ended up working for the speech pathologist a couple of years later that I bought the program from, and I ended up working with probably 30, 40, 50 parents who were going through the program as well. And I was seeing how many children were benefiting from this. And I thought, why isn't this more well known? Like, how is it not that everybody wants this? I mean, if I had found that in years 2, 3, or 4, which is the children I like to work with now, not that, I mean, I've also worked with a 73-year-old lady who had a stroke and she wanted to improve her speech. So, but it's really good to get them at that age before all that weight of you know, all the mental health issues start, because they have this horrible belief in themselves. I'd love to get to them before that. So eventually, as I was coaching all these parents, I was trying to find ways of keeping the children engaged, because it is quite a repetitive program. And so keeping them engaged was getting more and more interesting. So that was when I learned about the growth mindset from Carol Dweck. And when I really understood that, I thought, oh, what a powerful motivator. And I started coaching not the children with that, but the parents, so that they could develop this lovely growth mindset at home and help the children, you know, start to feel like making a mistake is not such a big problem, and that perfectionism, you know, it's letting all that stuff go, but it's better when it's modeled with the parents. So when I decided to, because that was on the North Shore, and because I live in Camden, I thought, no, we need this in my area. So that was when I decided to start the business and use everything that I'd learned and try and help as many kids here as I could.
And now, do you work with kids and parents? How do you work online or in person? What's your
Okay,
mode?
so I have what the program itself is online. So the children would probably log in 5 times a week for at least 30 minutes, sometimes 40 if we can get them to do that. It's quite a big demand on the home, you know, because mum has to, you know, make sure that it gets done. But what I do is I have support packages. So I have weekly support packages or fortnightly support packages, and then the growth mindset coaching, which comes on top of that. Eventually I'll have that recorded so that it can be all, you know, nicely formatted online and everything as well. But for the time being, it's you get me on the other end of the phone and I send resources to back that up. So
Yeah, but we always love the personal touch. So until then, it's a nice add-on.
It is really nice, because there's a lovely intersection with the growth mindset, and that the first lesson is about neuroplasticity and understanding how the brain wires itself, which is very, very good for understanding how fast forward that program works. And so from there, it encourages the parents to keep going, because it's basically repetition. You know, neuroplasticity, it really isn't a complicated subject. I mean, a lot of scientists will make it sound very complicated with all the neurons in your brain and all the different ways they connect and the neurochemicals. But really, it's all about repetition of whatever you repeat, whether it's good or bad, which is how we get bad habits. So repeating is the answer. But the trouble is when you have a child who is already resistant to learning, because they're actually, that's that ancient part of the brain that says, this isn't good for me, I'm not surviving this, get me out of here. You know, because I can understand all that now, I can talk to the parents about that. You know, the kids aren't being naughty, they're just trying to survive.
Well, and that's amazing that there's a program that helps them to learn, but helps them to overcome that negative mindset that keeps them held back.
Yeah.
And so it's amazing that you've been able to blend those two. So well done to you. Now
Thank
tell
you.
us what your silent auction item, what can people bid on?
Okay, so I think it was a I've got it written on a list. I'm pretty sure it's a voucher for my Learn Aerobics program. So yeah, they're 3-month programs, but I've also got other things in my shop that are I have an affiliation with. I'm not sure if everybody knows about Big Life Journal. The Big Life Journal produce fantastically colourful, hopeful, happy resources, all growth mindset orientated. You know, so I've got affiliations with them, and I've also got an affiliation now with Get Into Neurodiversity, and there's teacher accredited training there that you can do to support neurodiverse students.
That's awesome. I love Big Life Journal myself, and I've used that one with my family. So recommend everyone take a look at that. And just to give a shout out, what's your website address?
So it's www.brainwiselearning.com.au, and that's my address usually on Facebook and Instagram and LinkedIn as well. You should be able to find me. Otherwise, I'll put some links in somewhere.
So good. Thank you for that. It's awesome. I'm really excited. And, you know, every parent is like really connecting with what you're saying. And there's, you know, even if your child is gifted, there's sometimes that mindset piece that can be really just that thing that.
Well, that can make a big difference. So if I've got like maybe 30 more seconds, can I tell you about this?
Yeah.
So with the growth mindset, when I was a child, I was lucky in primary school, things came quite easily to me, and I'd never learned about the effort that I needed to put into things. And when things got harder in high school, I thought, oh no, that's that effort thing. I don't need to do that. And by the time I got to the end of high school, I actually thought I was a complete dunce because I didn't put the work in. So that was a long process in itself. But when I learned about the growth mindset and I was able to look back and see where, oh, it was just that I hadn't learned to put in effort because I had so much emphasis put on the results that I was getting in primary school rather than the effort I was putting in or not putting in. So the growth mindset is great for gifted children as well.
Brilliant. With kids in primary school, I'm hearing you. That is, you speak my language. Beautiful. Well, thank you for sharing that.
My pleasure. Thank you so much for having me.
Oh, we wonder. It was lovely listening to it. We're going to introduce you to Gail, and let me just pin the screen for Gail before we move on. There's our lovely Gail, and Gail is bringing to us Ponies for Parties. Now, I've been to Gail's place. I've seen her beautiful ponies, and she's got some gorgeous acreage there, which the ponies are just absolutely delightful. So over to you, Gail. You got a slideshow that you want to share with us?
Yep. Hang on. And when my daughter was 3, my first daughter, Madison, I had a pony party for her down at Cremorne, and Ponies for Parties is the company that I hired. And they did a great job. I loved what they stood for and what they did. And beknownst to me, many moons later, I end up owning the business, and I took the business over because the people that owned it also owned Kindy Farm. They sold off Kindy Farm, but the lady that bought that didn't want Ponies for Parties. So they were looking for someone like-minded like myself, that, you know, the right person to sell it to. And I went to my girls went to Pony Club with their daughter, and they kept on approaching me and saying, Gail, you'd be great at this, la, la, la. Anyway, it turned out I ended up buying the business and changing the face of it because it's not what it used to look like. and my own logo and put my own spin to it. And yeah, so I've grown it into the business that I have today. So Ponies for Parties is what the sign says there, you know, you know, your special day will come and go, but the memories of Ponies for Parties will last forever. And anyone that's had anything to do with our business, whether it's a nursing home, whether it's a fete, whether it's someone that's ridden our ponies at an event, whether it's a birthday party, we do weddings, there's so many events that we do. So as this slide shows you here, I've done an engagement party, an engagement party through a company called My Proposals. They employed me, and I had one of my little mini ponies, that's little one. She's the smallest of my crew. And I had to turn up to a lookout just up at Grosvale, and they had a company, My Proposals, set this beautiful setting up that you can see there. And I had my beautiful pony there standing on the rock right out on this lookout, waiting for the bride-to-be to arrive, where he proposed in front of us. And I've got many photos. It was just a gorgeous occasion, and she just had tears rolling down her eyes. Her beautiful fiance knew she loved ponies, and yeah, they contacted me. So we get to do lots of beautiful events. This was one that I did at a wedding. The groom contacted me and said his wife had a bit of a hashtag, I always wanted my own pony. And so he thought, well, why not at the wedding I surprise her with a pony? So again, this is Chili, one of my other ponies, and we had to dress up in white, and we turned up and we walked along this beautiful place down south, right on the point. And it was just gorgeous. And she looked up and we're just standing there, and he sort of got her to turn around. And again, it was a tears moment. It was really lovely. But we do lots of different parties. We theme our ponies to fit the event. We color coordinate them for our clients. So this one here is a little cowboy pony. This one was a monster pony. We do specialize in unicorns. We do 50th birthday parties. If you go onto our Instagram page or our Facebook page, you'll see a lot of the events that we've done. All my ponies are well trained. I've trained them all. They go in lifts. We do nursing homes. And many other events like fetes, which is what we're going to be doing and helping Kelly out at this event, where we're going to be doing pony rides led by my staff, well-trained staff, and there'll be ponies of different shapes and sizes and colours. I'll be having 4 ponies there. We're also going to be doing the horseshoe quoit game, where Kelly will be able to collect the money that's donated. It's a gold coin donation, and it's the old-fashioned horseshoe quoit game where, you know, there's a peg in the ground and you get to throw the horseshoes, and there'll be 3 sets of that. And again, they have a lot of fun. They can do it as a family. They love it. Also, the colouring in sheets. We're setting up with Kelly a colouring in station with her helpers. And I've got 6 icons that I have there. I supply these for my pony parties. People can buy these and the kids can colour them in. And sometimes we also laminate them, and the hosts put a hole in it with a clip, and they can type on them before they do that, and they get it sent back to the kids that have attended the party saying thanks for attending our party. It's just a really lovely thing to do. So we're going to be running a colouring in competition at Kelly's event. And so we're going to have a wall where we can pin all these up. We're going to be running it from kindy, year 2, 3, 4, kindy, and then preschool, kindy, year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then they will receive one of our horseshoe Ponies for Parties lucky horseshoe mementos in whatever colour they like, and that will be sent to them. We sell those, and I'll probably be having those there on the day if I can get my act together and make them, because I make them myself. Again, it's something we present to the kids at the end of a birthday party if the parents want to purchase them as a special remembrance of their birthday, and we put it around their neck, and they get a stand to stand it on, like you can see in the photo there. Again, it's just another special thing that we do. A lot of these things no other pony party companies do. We're the largest pony party company in Sydney and New South Wales. We started 35 years ago. And before COVID, I was hoping to have us franchised and to be in all capital cities, but that all got closed down. So I'm praying that down the track, that's something that, we'll be able to do. I'm also donating a gift voucher to Kelly for the day. So Kel, I've actually sent this to you. And all you need to do is print that out and put in an envelope. You can use this however you like. You can raffle it. You can put it on the chocolate wheel, however you like. It's valued at $285, and it's for a pony party for 1 hour for one pony, and then they can upgrade from that if they wish. It's valid for 12 months. So that's Ponies for Parties, and we do a lot of photo shoots. We do a lot of this is a professional photo taken by a photo company that hire our ponies for their events. We also do, and I even may be able to, Kelly, for the day, have a photo wall where people can come and have their photos taken. I'm working on that logistically to get that there if we've got the space to do it once I've had a look at it. But that's also a great thing that we do as well. My other company, G-Force Equestrian Services. So G-Force Equestrian Services leases the ponies to Ponies for Parties to conduct these events. And these are a lot of the services that Ponies for Parties offer. We do meet and greets, which I'll show you in our next slide, which is where you can bring little ones, or even yourselves as adults, you want to come and just spend an hour and a half here at our property. You get to meet the herd. You pick a pony you want to work with. I teach you how to put a halter and lead on. We take you back to the grooming area and you groom the pony, and I teach you how to do that. You get then you can walk them around. If it's a child, they can have a little ride. We play pony games and things like that. They can decorate them with hair clips if they want. They get to feed them. You get to feed them. We also offer coaching instructor services. So I'm a qualified coach, and I have a very holistic business, and I specialize in beginners and children, adults recovering from horse riding accidents to help them get back their confidence, and helping riders to meet their equestrian goals, no matter what that is. One of my daughters, she's an elite equestrian, so she's aiming to get to the next Olympics, fingers crossed. And we sponsor her in her endeavours. I have a floating service, so I float people's horses and ponies. A lot of people who have their horses in Sydney like to give them breaks and holidays, so I take them to their choice of a place where they want to turn them out so they can just be a horse for a month or two. We also offer training and retraining horses. I break horses in and train them. I've trained all mine. We also have a service where we lease our ponies and horses for our children who are learning and they want to join Pony Club. I just have actually been at the Easter show. One of my students I met at a pony party, and she'd never ridden a pony. This was back when she was 10. She's now 15, and now she's competing at state level for the Pony Club in sporting. So, which is her choice of equine events. Equivibe, I also offer a massage service for the equine for my students or other clients. We're currently working on our qualifications for equine assisted therapy, so it was very interesting in what our last presenter was saying. I work with a lot of psychologists and ADHD, OCD children to help them through their anxiety, which affects their learning. And we get great results with this. And that's what I want to do in retirement. We also distribute Try Nature. And I said to Kate, this is something that probably is in line with what she does, but I've been using these products now for over 20 years, and they're natural cleaning products which are friendly to the environment and to our animals. Because living on the land where I live, I have my own rainwater. We're not on main water, we're not on main sewage. And so therefore we've got to look after our ecosystem and what products we use. So I've had to replace all my products over the years to make sure that I've got a healthy eco cycle in my sewerage system. So yeah, that's it. And here's some lovely photos from some of the things that we do. I take my students trail riding. I teach them in arenas, and these are my beautiful family that I met through a pony party. None of them have ridden before. That's me riding Mum's pony or Mum's horse that I bought for her. So I buy and sell horses for them as well. And this is Tiff Andy, that just the 15-year-old that just competed at the Easter show, and her younger sister, who I teach as well. These are a couple of my ponies that I lease for Pony Club, as you can see there. I can't see the other photos because your screens are blocking them, but I guess you get the gist of what I do.
Beautiful. Well, that we are excited. And
Gail's Garden. I wanted to also reach out that here I'm actually starting up my community garden again. This was at my last property that I offered down the road. Here I have 1/4 acre where I'm setting up a community garden. I have free range hens. We're going to have veggies, and I've got fruit trees. I've got veggies happening, and it only happens with we the people. I can't do it by myself. And if you want to join, you just go on to Gail's Garden on Signal, what is it, on Signal, I think it is. And yeah, join, talk to me if you want to be interested and be involved. Anyone that helps gets to take also part the produce as a thank you for helping in the garden. So anyway, that's me, Kelly. Thank you, everybody.
beautiful. Thanks, Gail. I know the community love to go to Gail's Garden, and they'd all be there pitching in once a week and having fun together and bringing home the produce. Way to go for communities. It's really, I love to see that. And thank you for your generous voucher for the silent auction. That's really exciting. Andrew's typing in the chat that you had a spelling on there, which I didn't even pick up.
Oh, good. Yeah, thank you, Andrew. I'll pick that up in a minute.
So, but we are so looking forward to having the ponies at the expo. They would just absolutely be a highlight. And so, and you probably won't get to share all this lovely information at the expo because you'll just be busy walking children around. So it's really lovely to hear tonight what you do and how far it extends, and the G course as well. So there's so much that you do that I didn't even know. So we've got a beautiful segue there from the ponies to learning and healing to animal healing with our mystery guest tonight. And let me just change you to another view. Let me switch over here. Okay, and I'm going to find Olga.
What do I do now? Do I stop?
Oh, you can stop sharing. That'd be fabulous.
Okay,
Yep.
thank you.
Thank you. That was lovely. And I'm going to introduce you to Olga, and I'm going to have Olga come off mute. Now, Olga is an animal healer. So I have just met Olga, and I'm very excited to hear more about what you do. And you've got Bernard next to you. Bernard. Thank you, Bernard.
Hello.
And so share with us more about what you both do.
Okay, well, I'm an animal communicator and Reiki master and animal therapist of sorts, mainly with dogs and horses at this current moment, and wildlife now and again. I do massage, I do healing on the animals, and I actually talk to the animals that have that are past or present. And if most people I find who lose an animal grieve, and they don't want another animal afterwards, or they just, they hold it deep inside. And I know I did when I lost my dog in 2011, and that's how my life changed. I was in publishing for about 30 years, and I just quit my job and got into animal communication. I found this teacher at the Body, Mind, Spirit Festival. I just went there for, I don't know what, just for a reading. And I met this lady, did the courses, and I haven't looked back since. And it's been 13 years since then. So, and it's all about being one. We're all connected. Everything around us is alive. As long as everyone knows everything around us is alive, and we are all one. And that's what I'm here to do. I'm here for the animals, and just to make people see that we are connected.
Beautiful. I love that. Tell us, what kind of results are you looking for, say in a dog, before they come and see you, and then after? How would I know that I need to bring my dog to see you?
Okay, well, for example, we had the market day on Saturday. I had a very anxious Labrador come in, and after administering some healing, and I actually had the guardians sit down with me and do some meditation with me, and connect.
The guardians is in the owners, the animal owners.
Yeah, I call them guardians. Yeah,
okay. Yeah.
The owners, and they actually wanted to contribute, because usually I ask them to leave, because believe it or not, the main problem is the human. They're the ones that have the anxiety. Animals are not supposed to have cancer, tumours. They're not supposed to have health issues. We give it to them energetically. And I'm here to hopefully teach the humans that just relax, and talk to your animals. And, usually I see a lot of people getting angry with their animals, and it's actually their anger that's sort of exerted onto the animal, and not the other way around. The animal is just there. It's just pure love. Yeah. It's pure love. Even those that have behavioural issues, there's always good results after the session, because I do talk to them and try to convince them otherwise that, right, what would you like? I ask them simple little questions like, what would you like to do? Like, most of them are bored. Walks aren't enough, so I give them like enrichment games to play. What's their favorite food? Just simple little things like that actually enhances both of their lives, and it makes them better. I've had some really great feedback lately. And with this beautiful Labrador, his name is Jock, he's just changed completely after an hour session.
Amazing.
Completely. And,
Wow.
and it's because the owner is actually, you know, committed and goes down that road and actually does as the animal, you know, as they're listening to their animals.
Amazing.
So
That's
yeah.
lovely. And Bernard's next to you. Bernard, you don't work with the animals, do you? What do you do?
I work with the humans. My job's a lot easier.
I don't know about that.
So basically, we do a bit of proof of evidence, which means that we do mediumship. We bring in someone that's passed, and we do that just to verify and to let you know validation that this is actually spirit you're in contact with. And then we do a little bit on the last 4 weeks of your life, just to put some confidence in you that what's coming next is what you need to look at. So the best way I can describe it's this: spirit will never tell you what to do. You always have choice. They will never take that away from you, because some of your choices lead to some experiences in life that you need to have. However, before making a choice, if you have full clarity, it allows you to make a choice from clarity. Quite often we're deceived in life, or we're not looking properly. And spirit will just point that out to you. Again, I just want to say to you, you have the power within you to change everything. If I tell you you're going to be in a car smash tomorrow and you don't drive, you won't be in a car smash. So what's told to you is not what's going to happen, but what's told to you is things around you that need to draw your attention to. Just like if I tell you you're going to find $50 on the grind today, you're going to look on the grind, you're going to find it. If I tell you something's going to happen in a week or 2 months and you're awake to it, you will be able to either put yourself in a position you're better able to handle it with your reaction, or indeed revel in it because it's a beautiful piece of life. That's really up to yourself. So if I can get that right and Olga gets the animals right, it's going to be a very happy place, you know. And this center that we have here, which I'll let Olga tell you about, is just for that. It's to make people really aware of everything that they come in contact with and find the good in it. Just find the good, because there's so much joy and there's so much happiness that we need to partake in life, because we are going to have the bumps along the way that hurt us. But what it's all about is knowing self. And if you know yourself, every part of what you do leads to a better you. And if we all be the best that we can, and we show that in day-to-day life, the people around us will be affected. And that's how we will change. That's the only way experience. Yeah.
Beautiful. Yeah, we all be here to have joy, aren't we, and have a good life. And I've been to your centre there at Seven Hills.
I didn't know that. Really?
Yes, and I've met Bernard, and we've had one of these chats. I don't know if you remember me now. We've just seen each other tonight.
Put your glasses on.
Glasses.
Oh, I do. I remember you. Yeah. Yes, I remember you. Yes. There you go.
Lovely. And I came down and we had a beautiful market day, and I bought some lovely crystals there, and my lovely friend Cheryl introduced me to you all. And so you're going to be at our expo. We're very looking forward to having you there. And did you want to say anything else about your market there that you have, Olga?
Oh, well, no, it's just grown. That's all. It's we had about 14 stalls last Saturday, and it's just great helping people in need since lockdown. There's been a lot of people who were unvaxxed as well, so, and found it hard to get work. So it's just gives us joy to help people. Yeah.
And
now you're in Seven Hills, and you do that what, once a month, or how often?
Yeah. The markets are once a month, third Saturday of every month in Seven Hills. And we're running a lot of workshops currently, art therapy, music therapy, dancing lessons for the disabled, which is going to be interesting. That's starting soon. Yeah, that's a good one. And what else? We've
Well,
got
we got
social nights
we got a social nights, and
every Thursday
we got
night,
those.
and that's I think we only closed down once last year, didn't we? Just during Christmas. So that's open all the time, 7 o'clock every night. So people are welcome here all the time. We just get a lot of people who are very vulnerable and just need people to talk to. A lot of people who live alone or have lost people, especially during COVID. And it just, they just feel like they're in part of a family, you know.
I
which is
think
nice.
the other night we had a guy come who's a medium, and when we first opened up, he come quite regularly, and then he went on to work in a few shops. Anyway, we haven't seen him for about 4 or 5 months, which is fine. We don't. That's terrific. And he come the other night. It was like a long lost friend walking in. But we have like about between 17 and 25, 30 people. Anyway, I went over and I talked to him, and he had broken up with his girlfriend, right? He was unhappy. And I was really happy because when he was lonely, or when he needed cheering up, or when he needed to clear his head, he come here. And that's what it's for. It's a place where people can come and feel good. And that's the big thing, you know? That's the big thing with us.
And for those who
What do you call those nights? Gail wanted to know. What do you call those nights?
They're just a social night.
we're just calling them social nights. It's like the psychic development, but you know, with the twist. You know, we're always having fun. Bernard's the funny one.
So where do you have a website, or how can people find you?
Yeah, we're all things spiritual, humans and animals. Our company's called, and the website is I can put it on. It's atspiritual.com.au.
Beautiful.
Or on Facebook, yeah, Facebook, all things spiritual, humans and animals,
We'll
actually.
be at the expo, and we might see some of those the other people maybe at the expo as well. Do you have a silent auction item or a prize that people can bid on?
Yeah, well, we're going to offer a voucher for a human or an animal, free readings.
Beautiful.
It's that simple. You can, people don't need to bring their animals there, but I'm sure there's going to be quite a few animals. And judging by the speakers so far, they're animal lovers. And we can just see a picture. You can just have a pic. I can just give me a picture. They don't have to be there on the physical, and we can sort of talk to them via their past or present. So that's a lot of fun. And for those that don't know, Bernard's a psychic, intuitive, tarot reader, you name it. So he can sort of he helps me with that. So while I'm reading the animals, he reads the humans, and there's a healing process that sort of merges through, which is incredible to watch, actually, because you just see people healing straight away energetically with their animals. It's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing, almost immediately.
Wonderful, lovely. We'll type your links into the chat for me, and then we'll be able to make sure we share those out. And of course, you'll be able to pick up on the day a handout which will have everyone's contact details and links and so forth, and we'll also put those into the Telegram chat channel and onto our website, and there'll be lots of ways that people can find you even if they can't make it to the expo. So thank you so much for being part of the expo and coming on tonight and sharing with us your magic and your little corner of the world. And I'll just open it up back up to the gallery view so we can see everyone. And a big thank you to everyone as we go around the room. It's been wonderful to hear what you do and what you bring to the world and the difference that you make and how we're making the world better just with what we do day by day and step by step. So thank you for your skills, your love and your contribution. You're really a piece of magic, and that we're all going to be able to share this one day together will be fantastic. So you'll be able to hear of our speakers. We're going to have a wonderful area for the market stall, the pony rides, the food, the speakers inside the auditorium. If it's wet weather, will be catered for. So you're just going to have a fabulous day. So thank you, everyone. We've got the links coming up there. I will grab those links and pop them into the Telegram chat as well. Wonderful, everyone. Thanks so much. And we'll see you all again next Tuesday night. Now, we have a really cool lineup for you next Tuesday night. We've got Dimitri coming on. He's actually going to do a demonstration on the day, food storage, your 72-hour kit, and how to make MRE foods. These are your emergency ration foods. And he's just going to give us a little taste of it next Tuesday. Plus, we're going to hear from Photios, who's from Bartios, Australia. He is all about helping us look at financial options other than the banks, the major banks. So we're going to hear lots of different alternatives to, you know, that'll help us live off the grid. So wonderful. Have a great week. We shall see you again next Tuesday. Take care.
Thanks, Kelly. See you, everyone.
Bye.
Good night.
Good night.
Good night.